It's beautiful right there. It's pretty down there too. It's creepy. All right, let me find me a spot. I don't want to go no further. Back in here a little further than what I intended to go. I'm waiting for the helicopter to pass over. Hopefully the microphone's not picking that up. He's not real close, but I should be able to see him back through the trees that way, and I don't. All right, I am at the property, at our property, and I'm at the highest point of the property, which is literally 100 yards that direction. Is probably 5 foot or 6 foot higher than where I'm at right now, but this is the pinnacle as far as the height on the property. Back that direction, 400 yards, I'm guessing about 400 yards that direction is where Camp Carey is located. And for those of you that don't know, we named that after our brother, Kerry Arnold. Kerry had Bigfoot Odyssey, and just a great friend, a great man, and just a legend to many. And he was really, really good to me and my family. But Kerry and Mark Zaske came, and they camped there, and they did an investigation. And as you guys know, we don't let many people over here at all. And there's a reason behind it, mainly my wife and my daughter. And I'm just very skeptical on letting people come to the property that I don't know, that I haven't met, and I don't know. So anyway, if you've asked and I've turned you down, the reason for it is that I don't really know you. And it's nothing against you. But I have a 12-year-old little girl and my wife that I have to take into consideration when I let strangers come to our property or to our home. Anyway, outside of that, when Kerry passed away, he was supposed to come back, and they were going to complete the investigation, and they were going to camp again in the same spot. And unfortunately, he was involved in an automobile accident, and it took his life. So Kerry's on the next journey, and we'll all see him again. For those of us that know him, we'll definitely see him again, but hopefully it won't be anytime soon, but you never know what the Lord has in store for you. But I just wanted to kind of catch you up to date, let you guys know what's going on, because I haven't been able, I filmed a fair amount of videos, and I've deleted just about everything. The problem is that I don't have time to dedicate to editing the footage and putting a video together. It's been very difficult. I don't have much time at all. I was supposed to got out here this morning at 8 o'clock to trim the trees up back that direction, I think, where my truck's parked. I had a camera over there, and there's something blowing in front of it, and it's triggering it. So I get an alert every 60 seconds from something triggering the camera. And it's been 700 plus pictures since late yesterday afternoon when I installed the camera, and so I had to come and do that before it killed my battery and ate up my memory card. But we had to go pick up some goats today, and I didn't know about it until this morning, and we just got back. It is right at 3 o'clock now in the afternoon, and so I kind of lost this day as far as getting done what I needed to get done. But it's just been like that. It's been really, really busy, and I haven't had time to do what I want to do, which is film. And I love to film, love to hunt, and I haven't hunted a lot either. But on the topic of hunting, I wanted to share with you guys, my memory is very, very short-lived, and it's been that way since I was a child. Nothing happened to me. It's just the way the Lord made me. My memory is not very good. I can remember certain events like it was yesterday, events that happened to me when I was 5 years old. but I can't tell you what I ate yesterday for lunch, if I ate anything. Just my memory's all boogered up, and I don't remember a lot. And this was just shared with me within the last 4 or 5 days. It was recently, and it was two guys. I know both of them. One of them hunts with us regularly. There's a group of us that hunt together, and almost every time we're hunting, we're together. One of us, I'm not going to give his name. He doesn't want his name out. He's not tied up to any type of technology. No YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook, no nothing. He does absolutely nothing on a device. He has a cell phone. It is a plain Jane regular cell phone, no internet or anything. But anyhow, I'll back up. I'll go ahead and tell you his story, and then I'll tell you my other buddy's story. I'm trying to think of a name that I'll remember to tell this story, because I don't want to use his name. His name's very common, but there's only one person with that name that I hang out with, and I told him I wouldn't give his name, so I'm not. I'll call him Frank. We'll just use that name. Anyway, if you guys remember a few weeks back, I shared a hunting video where I harvested a white-tailed deer, a doe, with my crossbow, and I was sitting in the timber. The way you sit in that tree stand, the left side is clear cut, where the lumber company came through there, the timber company, and they took all the trees out. So it's just a big open area. There's a swamp down at the bottom of the hill that surrounds the southeast, the south, and the northeast side of that field. The southwest and the west side of it is timber. It's up on a high hill. So when you're sitting in that tree stand, your right-hand side, you got 25 or 30 feet. You're in the timber. There's a row of trees right alongside that clear-cut area, and our tree stand is right there inside that first row of trees. You got 25 to 30 foot over, and it gets really thick, but that's the boundary line for the adjacent property. The adjacent property I thought was a different landowner, and I come to find out recently it's the same landowner owns that property too, but we are not allowed to hunt on that property. If a deer is on that property, we're not allowed to shoot him. Now we can, if he crosses the fence, we can shoot him or the boundary, as soon as he crosses over that thick area to where I could see him, then we can shoot him. And if he runs back into there, we can go and retrieve him. So the landowner is he's good like that. I don't know why he doesn't allow us to hunt that spot. It's incredibly thick. It's worse than anything you see around me now. You would literally have to cut your way into it. Well, that tree stand, my friend Frank went up there recently to hunt that tree stand. And he's going up there late in the afternoon. He's coming up the hill, and he's cresting the hill. The tree stand is at the top of the hill. Just as it starts to taper and go back downhill, it's right there at the crest of it. He's coming up the hill toward the tree stand, and off to his right side, the left side is the clear cut where they timbered it. The right side is thick, big timber and thick brush. He hears something in the brush, and it's walking with him. It's paralleling him to the stand. He gets up to the tree stand. He climbs up in it, and right at last light, whatever it was that walked up there, he never heard it walk off. And it walked up there, and it sounded like it bedded down, and he assumed it was a deer or some other type of wildlife. It's getting late in the afternoon, and as the sun goes back behind the trees, the deer start moving, and they'll come out into that clear cut. He's got deer down at the far end, straight in front of him. They're coming out, but they're out of range. They're coming out of the clear cut, and they're making their way toward him, and he's watching them. Now that stand is very covered, it's camoed. We got limbs and brush and stuff all around that tree stand. It's 21 foot or so up the tree, and it's just, you can move around with a deer 20 yards from you and he cannot see you because there's so much cover behind you. There's a canopy of the treetops all around you. So, you know, there's limitations on how much you can move, obviously, but little slow movements, they don't see you. Well, he's watching these deer. They're making their way up the hill, they're coming toward him, and they get to a point that they just freeze, and they're staring at him, staring in his direction, and there's 2 or 3 deer down there, and he's wanting them to get up a little closer where he can identify which one he's going to target and get a bead on him and pull the trigger. The deer, he thinks they're staring at him. He's not moving. He's not making any sound. The wind is hitting him in the face. The deer should not be able to see him at all. And they're reacting as though they are looking dead at him. Now, he's estimating somewhere around 70 yards to 80 yards is how far they're from him. So they should not be able to see him at all. The ears are up, the tail gets up, and the first deer turns real quick and just kind of lunges back toward the bottom of the hill, and the others turn and they follow and they run off that field as fast as they can get off of it, off into the swamp. And he can hear them breaking stuff as they're running back into the swamp and into the timber that's out there. He's got his muzzle loader up, but he's not aimed at him. He's just got it shouldered. He's waiting for him to get within his comfort zone. Then he could pull it up to his eye and pick his target and squeeze the trigger. So he lowers it down, set it on his lap. As soon as he sets it on his lap, immediately right of him in the edge of that real thick stuff where the boundary is, he hears a growl, a very loud, what he described as it sounded like Satan himself growling. He panicked. The flashlight he's got he's probably paid $5 for it. It's a little plastic flashlight. It's got a little carrier in it that holds 3 AA batteries, and it's not bright. It's not an LED light. It's just a very cheap, the type of flashlight some of the stores, dollar store sells them. They'll have them up near the checkout. They have a little display with a bunch of them in it, and they're just a few dollars, but that's what he has for a light. He turns his light over there. He's not seeing anything. So he gets out of the stand, gets his muzzle loader, and he gets on the road right there that borders the clear cut and the timber, and he's heading down the hill trying to get back to his truck. He's got something 35 feet or so from him in the real thick cover, and it's growling and cutting up, and it's walking with him. It's breaking stuff, making a heck of a racket, and he said he thought he was literally going to have a heart attack. The growl was so deep, he said every time it growled, you could feel the vibrations in your clothing from it. He never seen eyeshine and never seen anything. Well, he gets down at the bottom of the hill, and that little track that you're on is actually a logging road, and it's just, they don't use it but about once every 10 or 12 years. And so it's you can see it, but it's got some growth and stuff in it. When you get down at the bottom of the hill, the timber on your left kind of peters out a little bit. It gets thin, and then there's a little small pond right there. And on the other side of the pond is another clear-cut field. So you can see through that really, really easily. And he gets down to that point, he's watching, and it's still somewhat daylight. It's light enough, you don't need a flashlight, but you could see a little better if you had one. And he's trying to shine his light back where he's hearing that growling. It stopped just short of stepping out in the open where he could have laid eyes on it, and he never seen it. He continues down the trail, around through the timber. He had to go through the pines, planted pines, come out, got in his truck, and he left. He said he's not going back over there at all. He's done. All right, that same property during crossbow season this year, when I harvested the doe, I don't know if it was the morning of or the day before, it was right there within 24 hours of when I harvested that big doe. When I was up there, I also had something that sounded like it was walking with me. It was being really stealthy, but I'd hear the occasional twig snap and I'd hear brush move. And when I got up there in the stand, it was dark, it was early morning, and I heard a growl too from over there. I didn't see anything, and I ended up leaving not long after daylight. Nothing happened. What I heard sounded more like an animal than it did what I would believe to be a Sasquatch. It was guttural, but it didn't shake your bones, and it wasn't super loud. It sounded like a very large dog, maybe a bear. We did find a bear track on that property this year, right the week before hunting season opened. Chris came across a huge bear track crossing the road, but it was about a quarter of a mile from that particular tree stand. Well, we'll jump over to my other buddy, and I hunted with this man on the Choctawhatchee River and the Apalachicola River and the Florida River. I've hunted with him all over the place, and he's got some years on me. I don't know what his actual age is, but he's somewhere between, I would guess, 66 and 70. He's in excellent health. He's a big guy, big fella, 6'4", 6'5", maybe 275, 280. But he's very well built. He's not an overweight guy. Well, he's got either a friend or family, I don't remember, someone he knows well that owns a large portion of property in an area called Bruce. It's north or northeast of Destin area, Fort Walton, Destin area. And I don't remember that county. I think it's Okaloosa County. But it's south of Defuniak Springs. There's a little community, a little area called Bruce. Now in Bruce, there's several boat ramps on the Choctawhatchee River, and that is the Choctawhatchee Wildlife Management Area. The property that he was going to, there's a public boat ramp in Bruce, and this person that he knows has a large ranch type farm. It's all pasture. Excuse me, it's all pasture, and they got cows. It's a beef farm. Well, he drives his truck. He pulls into the gate, and then he drives around the edge of the pasture, and there's cows out there. You know, it's an active farm. And he gets to a certain point, he parks his truck, and he gets out, and on the right side of that path that he drives on it's all big cypress, and it's swamp. And it's swamp from there all the way to the river. But it's when you first get into it, it's a lot of tupelo trees, cypress, there's white oak, pin oak, it's all hardwoods. But as you walk through it, if the river's high, it'll have water, like these little sloughs back there, little fingers of water, and there are a lot of palmettos back there. So he'll walk through that dried up swamp bed several hundred yards, and then he crosses the boundary to where it's the dividing boundary between his family member or his friend's property and Choctawhatchee River Wildlife Management Area. So he crosses over into the management area. He continues a few hundred yards, and he's got a ladder stand back there. Excuse me, he's got a metal ladder stand. When he gets up there, he climbs up, gets in his ladder stand, and he carries a backpack. And he said he had his backpack. His rifle is still on the gun rope hanging off the side of the ladder stand. He hasn't pulled it up yet. So he gets situated, and he's got his backpack in his lap. He's got both hands in the backpack pulling out whatever gear he's getting, and something hits the backpack from the front, and it hit it hard. And he looked out, there's no one around him. He could see a couple of 100 yards through the trees. There's palmetto bushes, you know, most of them are waist high. Some of them are big, some of them are 7 or 8 foot, but the majority of them are waist high. It's just standard palmettos that you see alongside the river. So he could see out quite a ways. There's nobody out there unless they tucked behind a tree. So then he thought these white oaks got acorns the size of a US quarter, a 25-cent coin. They're huge acorns, and they will hurt you if they fall and hit you on top of the head. So he thought maybe an acorn fell and hit the front of the bag because it was a hard impact. He thought nothing of it, got whatever he was getting. He pulls his rifle up, and as he's taking the rope off the rifle, he hears something coming through the small brush, the limbs, stuff like this behind me. He hears something hitting leaves coming at him, and as soon as he looked up the direction he hears the sound, a limb impacts the ladder stand below where he's sitting, and it hit it hard enough. He thought that it would have folded the ladder stand in. It hit it so hard. And he seen it hit the ground. He said it was a log. It was, you know, 2 or 3 inches in diameter, 4 or 5 feet long. It was big. He scanned out there because now he knows somebody's out there. There's no way it fell, and it ended up hitting the front of that ladder like that. So he gets down, he climbs down, throws his pack on, and he's got to go the same direction that he believes this limb came at him from. That's where he heard it selling through the leaves. It was out, I guess it was directly in front of him from what he's describing, but he had to go the same direction that it came from. So he tried to stay further to the left and kind of do a wide, you know, just kind of do a half a circle to whatever it was to get around it, but also so he could see who's throwing at him, because he's mad, but he's spooked. And he gets to where he can see the boundary. Where the boundary is, they got black stripes that are painted around the trees. They were painted years and years ago, but you can still make them out. And I've seen those in several other areas on that river, so I know what he's talking about. They're probably 5 or 6 inches in width, and it's just a black stripe that they paint around the trees to mark the boundaries. And he could see it. It's up ahead of him. It ain't far. And he hears something crash behind him in the palmettos, and it's an animal or a person. He hears it moving and breaking through them palmettos. He turns and looks back, expecting to see someone. There's nobody there. He doesn't see anyone. As soon as he turns, the movement stops. It goes silent. And he stood there for a second, scanning the area, trying to, because he's not sure where it was. When he heard it, he stopped almost immediately, and he spun around, and it stopped. So he's not sure if it was directly behind him or off to the side. He turns back, and he's going to start going back toward his truck again. Then he hears the same thing on his left side. And then he said he went about 80 or 90 yards, and he had something on each side of him and something behind him. And they were making just tons of noise, going through the brush, breaking limbs, almost as though they were just encroaching in on him really fast. They were coming up on him. So he takes off. He's trying to run and get through there. He does make it to his truck. Said he jumped in the truck, and it sounded like they were 20 yards behind him at that when he got up to where the swamp timber stops and the pasture starts. When he got to that point, his truck's 20 or 30 feet, you know, further out. But he said it sounded like they were 20 yards behind him. They were right there on him, and he should have been able to see him. He runs to his truck. He hops in. He's not seeing anything, and this is during the daytime. He turns the truck around out in the pasture, and he's taking off. He gets to the gate to unlock it to where he can get out, and he realizes when he got down, his backpack he left the zipper open, and his binoculars either fell out or he left them at the stand. And They're very, very expensive, very high dollar binoculars. He won't go back. But what he was describing, one other point, and I forgot that, and it's important. When he was in the ladder stand, before the limb hit the stand, he was just scanning out, looking out around him for movement, for deer or pigs, or movement of a target animal or a person. And as he's scanning, he did see off to one side, I don't recall which side, but he's seen out the side of his eye somebody leaning out behind a tree, a tupelo tree, looking. And when he turned his head and looked at him, he thought he seen him go back behind the tree really quick, but it was before he could put his eyes directly on it. He knows the exact tree. And he said the tree's not real big. It's an average sized tupelo tree. He looked over and he couldn't tell if anybody was there or not. And that's when he started really getting nervous. And then, sometime later, that limb hits his ladder stand. I asked him if he thought it was possibly a Sasquatch, and he didn't know what that was. And I said, Bigfoot. And he just kind of went into he blew it off, kind of laughed and said some select words. He does not believe in that stuff at all. And I shared with him, I said, there you've been around, there's been hundreds of thousands of eyewitnesses, and I told him what happened to me in Marianna and the other encounters that I've had, and I've shared, I didn't share all of them, I shared several with him, and other encounters some other people had shared with me, and he just refuses to believe. He's not into it, he's not interested in believing, and he doesn't, I don't think he even believes in life after death. He's set in his way. He's a great man, just as good as they come, but his mindset is not open-minded at all. He doesn't watch TV. He doesn't do anything on the internet. He's a farmer. And as far as I know, he's still farming. I have not been to his house. I've hunted with him for 15 or 20 years, and I've never one time been to his house, so I don't know if he lives in a home or a farm or ranch. I don't have a clue. But anyhow, it was interesting when these two guys shared with me, and the guy that I hunt with, the guy that I called Frank, sorry. I know him well. Yes, he drinks, but he's the type, he wouldn't lie to you if he had to. I've known him for a long time. He is very to the point, matter of fact type. And when he was telling me about that, I told him what happened to me, the same thing, same tree stand I got growled at too. And I think he's open to the whole Sasquatch theory. I don't know. He does know what they are. When I told him Bigfoot, he knows. He said, we don't have nothing like that here. I said, well, what else you think growled at you like that? Loud enough and guttural enough to shake you from 30 or 35 feet away? I mean, think about it. There's not an animal that can do that I'm aware of. But anyhow, it's just more of the oddities. I do want to share with you what happened, and I may take you down there and show you where it happened. This was just last week. I've got a blind. The road coming in that goes down to Camp Carey, I've got a ground blind I put up recently. It hasn't been there long, 2 weeks, maybe. I come in here for the morning hunt. I pull the truck in the gate, and we got an area where we park. I parked right there, and I walked down the road, and I don't know, 50 yards, I guess, when I got away from the truck heading down the road, I hear something moving to my right side. And it's not loud, but I can hear the occasional twig snap. There's something moving, without a doubt. There's no wind, it's dead silent. We had rain, inbound rain, but it hadn't gotten here yet. And so I'm trying to get to the ground blind before the rain gets here, because it was supposed to have been here at 5:30. So I'm walking down the road at 10 after 5. Dead silent, not a breeze, not anything. And I'm hearing snapping of twigs and leaves being stepped on. I get inside the ground blind and I get situated, and whatever it was moving, it came all the way up to where it's beside me. I'm inside the ground blind, I'm facing the creek, and it's on my right side. The road is on my left side. And it's not straight beside me, it's a little bit back, but it sounded like it was within 8 feet from me. Now, there's a window that goes down that entire side, and it's all made of cloth. The whole blind is cloth. This window has like slides on each end, so you could raise one end up, or you can raise both ends, or you can lower them. So there's only about a quarter of that window open, and that's the end furthest away from me. I got a little slit opened up, and it's shaped like a slice of pie. It goes to a taper and then to nothing. But it's just so when deer are moving out in front of me, I can see them out the side right there before they get directly in front of me, and I can prepare for the shot. And that's the only reason I got it open like that. And we'll go down there in a minute and I'll show you the window. Whatever it was that moved in on me, once it stopped right beside me, there was nothing, no other sounds, no nothing. The rain hits and it's just sprinkling, and then it gets into a heavy shower, stays that way. I'm not hearing nothing move. It's a little hard to hear in there, but I never heard it leave, whatever it was. About an hour or an hour and a half after daylight, the sun's up. It's that direction, east. Sun's coming up, so I mean it's light. It's very light outside. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 7:30, I think, and I hear a breath, like a breath from someone who has a very bad case of emphysema, that congested breath. I don't know if it was an exhale or an inhale, but it's right here beside me. I hear the breath, and then the following breath. I can hear the inhale, the exhale, and it breathed and breathed and breathed right there beside me. And it seemed like it lasted for 15 or 20 minutes, and I think it was probably a minute or two at best. But it scared me. It scared me really bad because I couldn't see it. I tried to lean forward to look out of that little slit in the window because I'd have to look kind of back. It's beside me, but a little bit behind me, and the slit in the window is in front of me, so I can't lean far enough to look back to see what it is. And then it turns, after this raspy, gurgly breathing, it turned and it starts, the way I was facing, it starts walking away from me, like kind of at an angle, like it's going a little behind me, but away from me. It's going off to my side. It's going to the right. And I heard it until it got to the point where I couldn't hear the steps no more, but I could hear the occasional twig snap and the limb snap, and I kept hearing it until it faded out to nothing. And it sounded like it kept moving. It may have been a bear. I don't know. I have no idea what it was. But soon as it got to where I couldn't hear it at all, I got my stuff and I got out of the blind and headed to the truck. I get out of the blind, I get 5 feet from it on the road, heading back up the hill to the truck, and got hit with the worst smell. And it did have a skunk-like odor, a strong urine odor. It smelled like what I know of in my mind as Sasquatch. That's what it smelled. It didn't smell exactly like it, what I've smelled when I've seen them and smelled it, but it was very similar. It was different, but it was very similar. It had that skunk-like odor and it had that urine odor, but it had some other odors in it, and I don't know what they are. I haven't smelled that before. The Sasquatches that I have smelled, that I know for fact was them, they all smelled very similar, but they're all different. This was it was a little bit similar because it had that skunk and that pea smell, but it was, again, it was very, very different. So I don't know what it was. It may have been a bear. Many people told me they smell really awful, and this was not a pleasant smell. When I got about 50 yards up the road from the blind, I didn't smell it no more. It was gone. We didn't have hardly any wind that morning, so I don't know which way. I don't know if the smell blew in or if it was just lingering. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to do a check-in with everyone. We're doing fine. We're doing well. Just been extremely busy. I hope you guys' Thanksgiving went amazingly well. I hope you had a wonderful time. And I pray that your Christmas is a Christmas celebration that you'll never forget. I hope it's the best one you've ever had. And folks, if you've emailed me and I have not responded, I have done something to my email. I don't know what I've done. It's not on Yahoo's end. It is on my end. I can sign in. I can open my email. But when it opens, I get the screen at the top. It says Yahoo Mail. And then it tells me I've got just shy of 4,000 emails, unread emails. But below that, it's blank. The whole screen's blank. It doesn't show my folders. It doesn't show anything. I don't have the option to write an email. I can't do anything on it. I can sign in and sign out. I've uninstalled Yahoo Mail from my phone. I reinstalled it and it's the same thing. So something I've done wrong. I just got to figure it out. I have not been able to get into my emails for like a month now. But I will get into it. If I can't get it fixed, I'm going to have to figure something out, another email or something. I don't know what to do on that. But I will get it fixed eventually. So if you emailed me, I am so sorry. I apologize. I don't have a backup email that's not on Yahoo. I don't have Outlook any longer. So I don't have a way to receive an email right now. Got a hair in my mouth, a long hair. Oh, it's probably from the goats. Got it all over me. Anyway, you guys, y'all have an amazing afternoon. But don't go anywhere yet. I'm going to walk down. I'll show you the blind real quick before the sun goes back any further. And just so you get an idea of what I was telling you about with the window and all on that side. I'm going to get out of here. It's getting late. I keep hearing stuff back here. And it's probably birds or animals, but I am right on the deer trail. Comes through, right through here. There's tracks beat everywhere in the ground, and they're going the way that I came. But it was the easiest route getting in here. It was sort of an open route. Let me get the camera down, and we're going to get back to the truck, and I got to put a battery in the camera. I've been filming all day, but I'm not going to share any of the footage with you. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Oh, Lord have mercy. I literally just got stung on my rear end. Holy cow, that hurt. Ooh. Jeez, that wasn't funny. Oh, that burns. Oh, gosh. What in the world got me? I hope it wasn't a scorpion. Oh, that burns. I'll be right back with you. We're going to head out. Let me get out of here. Turn this thing around. Something stung the tar out of me. The creek is down there. If you see the treetops way back there in the distance, that's the trees on that are right alongside the creek, this side and the other side. I don't know if you can see all the impressions, all the deer impressions in here. It's really pretty in here, but it's scary too, this time of the day. Just following the deer trails. Right, give me a minute. I'll be up at the truck and we'll put a fresh battery in this. And we'll go down to where the blind is. I made it, finally. I got off course a little bit. I'm gonna change the battery right quick. Right there, that clearing right there, that's where we park the vehicles right there normally. But I had come in and this pine tree right here, I've got a camera on it, right way up here. And I had to go and trim some of this stuff because it was triggering it. All right, give me just a second. Head down to the blind. There's all this stuff, that holly. I had to cut down Yopon holly. There's that camera I had to trim the stuff from. I gotta get that other limb too that's behind it. I didn't even notice that one, that tall one. All right, let's go down here. I'll show you the blind. We get a lot of deer down at Camp Carey. That entire area, we planted it so it's nice and green and pretty, but now it's all chopped up. It looks like this, but it's all footprints from deer. If there's any deer down there, I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to go to the blind. I don't want to spook them. Saturday, I'll be in here hunting. We've only got 2 deer showing up over here so far that are target deer. The rest of them are too young, or their mamas. The whole time when I was walking to the blind, whatever it was that was beside me was back in here. It was dark out, so I couldn't see. I shined my light in there, but there was nothing to be seen. It's open in spots back there, but then it's thick in areas, and I'll show you the side of the blind over here too, where it was standing at. It's thick in there. There's no footprints or anything to be seen. I'm gonna watch real carefully down through there, because that's where Camp Carey is, right through there. The road curves and goes down to where it's at. There's probably deer in there, or they're about to be in there if they're not there yet. You can see all the way down across the culvert. Okay, they're not in there yet. All right, here's the blind. If you guys can see how thick it is in there, it came through somewhere over here, and it sounded like it was right there, like right on the other side of this stuff, and then it walked back off that way. All right, you can see my chair. See how the window, it opens like this one. That one will open far wider. It'll open to where you have a 2-foot wide window, or this width, but it'll be 2 foot up and down. That's the same window here, but I only got a little slit. So when I'm sitting there, if a deer comes out on this trail in front of me, I can see him through the slit right there, and I can get prepared when he goes there. That's where my shooting window, and I got this window open the same. And it's got these little sliders right here. You slide that down to open your window. And you just slide it down, and I'm not gonna open it. It's got one for the bottom, and here's one right here. This top section, I can slide it up, so I can make the window real high or real low, wherever. But anyway, whatever was there was right there. But this material, when the rain hits it, it's pretty loud. So it could have walked off when it got to raining fairly hard, and I probably wouldn't have heard it. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. The deer will be coming through here any minute, and I don't want them to see me. I'll show you what I got that side window open for this trail right here. They'll come in from that end. It's 100 yards down to the end. They'll come in right here. See all the tracks all in there? They'll come out right here and they go right down the hill. There's Camp Carey right there. That's it, that sandy area you see. It was solid green because we planted it. And there's the blind. All right, I'm gonna head back to the truck. You guys, I just wanted to show that to you and share that little experience with you. When I stepped out of the blind, I didn't smell the odor till I got out here. I was somewhere up in here when I smelled it. And I could smell it. It was really strong up until about where that dead tree is right there. Somewhere right up in there is where I couldn't smell it any further or anymore. It may have been like right up in here somewhere. Whatever it was, I didn't get far from the truck when I heard it, when it started walking alongside me. It wasn't real close. I couldn't tell you the distance, but it wasn't, 20 or 30 feet. It was much further than that, but I could hear it really, really clear. And it was on that side. You can see how thick it is right past this little open area. I mean, it's thick, and it was right inside that thick stuff right there. I was somewhere right up in here when it started. I could hear the walking. I was somewhere right up in here. And that's when I first heard it, right back there. And it just stayed with me all the way to the blind, so I don't have a clue what it was. But I'm thinking either a bear or one of the big guys. I don't really know. Well, folks, y'all be safe. I love all of you. God bless you. If you have anything you'd like to share with us, or if you've seen anything in this video, if you've seen anything behind me or anywhere, please put a timestamp and a brief description of what you've seen in the comments. It would help a lot of us out. And, we get, 3 or 4 people that are commenting the same thing, same timestamp, then you can pretty much bet there was something there. Y'all have a good day. I love you, and we'll see you down the road. God bless you all. And a very merry early Christmas. Bye-bye.